Hi guys, we are halfway through the lockdown and I trust all of you are doing well. And now taking on from where we left last time on Surya Siddhanta. If you remember, last time we covered only the measurement of small time. Now we go on to the measurement of big time as we've given in the Surya Siddhanta. Now, what is important here is that today our calendars are only measuring the years. So each year you'll have to measure uh, and keep record. That means you 10 years have gone by, you strike it off, and that is the only way to keep record because there is no way of astronomically keeping track of the years. However, as per Surya Siddhanta, there was a way, or there is a way, which is termed as the Yugas. So today we'll be covering how the old uh, keepers of time measured the zodiac uh, and divided into four uh, four sections, each of 12,000 years, which is this is called the descending Artha half cycle, and this is the ascending half cycle. This constitutes to be one Mahayuga. Now we'll go over the details, and you can see for yourself that it has implications on the human society, and you'll get a better understanding of why things are happening around you as they are. Now, coming to how it was done. The Vedic calendar was unique in the sense that it counted years by tracking the precession of the earth against the zodiac. To understand how it was done, we first need to understand the phenomena called the precession of the equinox, which I shall come to you later. Meanwhile, the yugas in general are clumped together in the ratio of 1 is to 2 is to 3 is to 4. 1 is the smallest, which is the Kali Yuga. Double of that is the Dwapar Yuga, 2400. Then is Treta, 3600, and finally the Satyuga, 4800. Now, this clump, one clump, is a descending or an ascending uh, Earth Yuga, and together, it, like I told you before, it joins up to make one cycle, or that is one Mahayuga of 24,000 years. Now, how these things are measured is what is interesting. Now, further count than the yugas, like I told you, one Mahayuga is two cycles. One Artha Kalpa, which is half Kalpa, is 1000 Mahayugas, and one Kalpa is two, obviously, and one day of the Brahman, as stated in the Surya Siddhanta, is one Kalpa. The lifespan of the Brahman is deemed to be from the Big Bang to the Big Crunch, where we all return to similarity. That's a complete lifespan. There are figures given to it, but I shall not be going into it. Now, this is the way it is given. What is interesting here is a cycle starts at 11,500 BC on the autumnal equinox, the sign of Aries. It's a 24,000 year cycle with 12,000 and 12,000. Now, the first Yuga is the Satyuga of 4,800 years up to 6702 BC. Then comes the Treta Yuga till 3102, then the Dwapar 702, and Kali Yuga, and now we are somewhere here. Now this point can be verified looking at the zodiacal chart with respect to the precession of the earth. Now what is interesting here is Ramayana happened here at this point where it changed, and Mahabharata is supposed to have happened here. Each of these stories is trying to tell you something as to how we are descending into uh, lower levels of human consciousness. Now, another thing which you need to see here is uh, these points are all verifiable again, and this cycle will continue, and at the change of each cycle, that means, sorry, at the change of each yuga, there is supposed to be a major cataclysm which will happen, which will, a lot of people will die and things like that. It could be anything. So now, coming on to the precision of the equinox. To understand the precision, first let us just see our solar system. All the planets are in one plane. Now, except for maybe Mercury, which is slightly out, generally everything is in one plane. Which means that it is not a haphazard system which is happening here. Now, this plane where all the planets are revolving around the sun is called the ecliptic. You need to remember this. Now, our Earth is tilted at an angle of 23.4 to 23.5 degrees with respect to the ecliptic. This tilt is what makes Earth worth living in. We have the seasons, we have so many things. Now, if you superimpose, or if you take the equator which is here and lay it out on the ecliptic, you will find this celestial equator cuts the ecliptic at vernal equinox and at autumnal equinox. This is interesting. This downward trend is called Dakshinayan, and this upward thing is called Uttarayan. Now, what is interesting here is, amazing here is, thousands and thousands of years ago, we knew that the Earth was round to start with, and the entire solar system was heliocentric. Plus, we were aware of the tilt. And that's how all these Uttarayan, Dakshinayan, all these terms have been there. Otherwise, they would not have been these terms. And interestingly, on a daily basis, this point where the celestial equator cuts the ecliptic is the point of Rahu and Ketu. So you can imagine how far back our stories extend on the Rahu and Ketu issue. Now, so much of information on the astronomical thing was existing with us. Now, because of this tilt, we have so many things. We have our equinoxes, solstices, summer and winter here. We have the seasons, and we have the eclipse. The maximum chance of having a full eclipse is at these 2 points. Obviously, because everything is in one plane. Your sun, your moon, and the earth are in one plane here. Whereas at this point, it does happen like it happened last year, but it will never be a full eclipse, and it will be it is a rare occasion because the lunar plane of rotation is also slightly skewed with respect to Earth. Now, this shows you how you have full chances of getting eclipse at these points because we are all in the same plane. Here the chances are a little lower. Now coming to the precision. Now today, when we say North Star, Dhruv, it is Polaris. Now because the Earth is precessing like this, it will go on to the next one, which will be Alpha Draconis. Then it will go to Vega. Vega is where the starting point is. So we are at the other end, slightly ahead of the other end, as you can see. When the pyramids were built, it was at somewhere close to Alpha Draconis, the North Star. So this is how we can measure at any point where we are at that time with respect to the stars around us. I trust you have understood the precision. It goes like this, and I have a short clipping to show you. We'll go on to that. Here in this animation, you can see the celestial equator being dragged through the ecliptic. And these 2 points which are touching are the equinoxes. That is why it's called the precession of the equinox. Now, this equinox, when it goes through various zodiacs, as is being shown here, as you can see, I'm going through Pisces, and each of these zodiacs to complete a 24,000 cycle year. And if you look at the top where the circle is being made, it is passing through various uh, north stars which will be seen during that period of the uh, yugas. Now that you understood the precision of the equinox and the 24,000 year cycle of yugas, which is a never ending and continuous movement of time in a circle of fashion. But here you must bear in mind is that while in the Vedic scripture it is quoted as 24,000 years, some figures of 26,000 years come out. Now it is interesting. Now, is it only, is this measurement of time mentioned only in our Vedic scriptures? The answer is no. There are a few markers. For example, the Orion, the pyramids. If you look up Robert Duvall, he brings it out nicely as to how the complex of the pyramids is a direct representation of the belt of Orion. Now, to replicate the exact, because of the precision of the equinox, the Orion keeps changing its alignment in the sky. Now, to get the exact alignment on ground as it is today, you will have to move back in time at 10,500 or go ahead in time uh, to the beginning to match the layout of the Orion in the sky as to same on the ground. Now, there is another interesting discovery by Graham Hancock and his researchers about Angkor Wat. What he says in Angkor Wat is a representation of the constellation of Draco. There is a Serpa on ground. Now, today, if you see the way the Draco is in the night sky vis-a-vis how the temple layout is on ground, they don't match. Again, if you move the time back for, to 10,500 BC or move it forward, you will find at a certain point they match, which again is an indication of the uh, commencement period of the Yuga cycle. That means the ancients were trying to tell you something. You are in a cyclic time bound time cycle, and it will happen again. So that is what the advanced civilization were maybe trying to convey to us. For that, you will have to. I suggest you look up uh, a YouTube video or a movie. It's a documentary collection called "The Quest of the Lost Civilization" by Graham Hancock. He explains it quite nicely. Another interesting way to figure out which yoga you are on is if you see the human intelligence. For example, in the Kali Yuga, you're only dealing with matter, called the Iron Age sometimes. But as we graduated from the Kali Yuga towards Dwapara, you would start discovering electricity and its property. And you will slowly discover higher levels of electricity going on to magnetism and other uh, things associated with it. As you graduate into the Treta Yuga, you would have completely understood the forces governing gravity and having control of gravity. In the Satyuga, you would have reached higher and higher levels of control over your consciousness. And that is why it is called the golden age or the Satyug. Everything is pure, no rules are required, no communication is required because each person should be able to read others' minds. So nothing, no control is required at all. And thereafter we descend in the same fashion all the way down into the ignorant ages. So in this short video, I have tried to explain the concepts which actually took me decades to comprehend. Now, this is in the non-Google days. Now, it started off with my fascination for the pyramids, which led me to the Yugas cycle and the Surya Siddhant, and of course, finally to the Angkor Wat. And all these quests were in an effort to find out certain answers. And I trust you would have found it informative. And you can do your own searching, and I'm sure much more will come out which you can share with me. Thank you.